Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going over the just trash UFC 315 card. And I'm not going to be predicting it in this video. I'm going to be going over why it's the worst card of all time. It might be. This is one of the worst cards I've ever seen in my life. This should not be a pay-per-view. And I just wanted to rant a little bit in this video. And it only has gotten worse in the past couple days. I was going to make this video anyway. But now we have an announcement that what's his name? Benoit Saint Denis has a replacement because Joel Alvarez pulled out of his fight, and he got replaced with Kyle Prepolek, who doesn't even have a win in the UFC. He's 0-2 in the UFC, and now he's getting a ranked opponent on a pay-per-view to start it out. This is where we're at in the UFC. My opinion is that the UFC is completely dog shit, and it's just going down the drain completely. But we'll start with the main event. The only thing that's good about this whole card is Jack Della Maddalena and Jose Aldo, but they're mismatched against some of the people that are just so boring. We have the main fight, the title fight, welterweight title, Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. This one has potential to be sick. We haven't had a badass finish this year in a main event. It's either been a boring decision, a controversial weird finish, or a ground and pound finish from Sean Brady that was actually pretty impressive. But none of them have knocked my socks off. Jack has the opportunity to do that. This is the only way this card can be saved, in my opinion, is if Jack Della Maddalena goes out there and starts his Belal Muhammad out cold. From what I believe is going to happen, the rest of the fucking card's going to be boring as shit, and then Belal Muhammad wins by decision. I might stop watching at this point. It's unbelievable. The last fight night card we watched, Corey Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo, was also horribly shit and only had a few good moments. So, the UFC in a whole is in a really bad spot, in my opinion, and it's just getting worse. I don't see how they can accept this as a pay-per-view. I don't see it. I don't understand this point in the UFC's standing. They're a monopoly. They should have. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe their monopoly status is allowing them to get away with shit. But they should be putting on the most amazing fights and fight nights and events ever. They have the talent. It's getting worse. It's getting more boring. They're not getting worse. My theory: the better the fighters, the more boring the fights. That's why boxing is so shit. It's been around for so long. It's pretty much just, this is exactly what you need to do to win a decision. Just go out there and do it. There's no variety anymore. And it's getting to be that same way in the UFC, where the people with variety are the only ones that are entertaining. But it's slowly narrowing down to hold someone up against the cage and do rangy output strikes. And it's closing in on that because it's working so much, and it's such a bad look, and it's terrible. But I'm ranting a lot. We'll go through the card. So yeah, Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena has potential to be good. This is the only fight that matters on this card at all, in my opinion. Next, Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. So it's a title fight at least, but it's also this one is contentious. I just don't care about women's fights that much, and Valentina Shevchenko has already lost. She got her belt back. Manon Fiorot, I just don't care about. It's just not interesting. I just don't care. It's gonna be boring. I know there's stakes, but there's just not stakes that matter to me at all. So this one kind of gets the slide too, but no, it's boring as fuck. It's gonna be on a pay-per-view at some point, is what gives it the slide. These three have no. That's a prelim. These three have no business being on a pay-per-view ever. Next, Jose Aldo versus Amin Zahavi. So, Jose Aldo deserves to be on a pay-per-view. He does. Jose Aldo's a legend who's one of the best fighters on the planet. He's either the featherweight GOAT or the second best featherweight ever. He deserves to be here. Not against Amin Zahavi, man. Jose Aldo has been done so dirty throughout his career as he's come back. His comeback was supposed to be a legendary comeback. He lost to Merab by very close decision, arguably arguably beat him. He has had the best performance against Merab out of any fighter ever. All they could do was hold him up against the cage. That's all they can do. That's all anyone really can do against Jose Aldo. To be fair, that's Jose Aldo's fault as well. But they have to stall against Jose Aldo to make it bad, to make it worth it at all. Jose Aldo retires. He comes back. He fights Jonathan Martinez. Already, he's going from fighting the number 2 guy in the world at the time. I think he was like number 3 or 4, to fighting Jonathan Martinez. Way down the rankings. I understand he retired and came back. Where's that energy with Cejudo? See, I don't understand, really. Because Jose Aldo, I know Cejudo retired on top, kind of, but he's a legend. Why not give him a badass matchup up the rankings that everybody wants to see? He beats Jonathan Martinez. Clearly destroys Jonathan Martinez. Now it's time for hype matchups to put him up the rankings. No. Instead, they give him Mario Batista. And then, wait, one sec. I'm going to check something. Was there one in between Mario Batista and Jonathan Martinez? Nope. Yeah. Next, they give him fucking Mario Batista. Another up-and-coming guy who has a lot of hype. But not he doesn't have, like, hype as in people like him. He's just an up-and-coming guy who has a bunch of wins. Nobody fucking cares about Mario Batista. And Mario Batista holds him up against the cage for the entire fight and stalls it to oblivion and wins a boring fucking decision that a lot of people think Jose should have won anyway. It doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this with Aldo? Put him up the rankings. He was number 3 when he lost to Merab and then retired. Why? And he has a shot against these top guys. He is fucking good at fighting. Still in his old age, and he's gritty. Next. A lot of people think Jose Aldo won the Mario Batista fight. I would say so as well. But what does the UFC respond with as a, hey, maybe we should actually give the fans what they want at all in terms of Jose Aldo's career? We give him Aben Zahabi, how about? That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Aben Zahabi, after all of this, another boring up-and-coming guy who's probably going to hold him up against the cage or range strike him. Jose Aldo, I'm going to... Fuck, I don't know if I can pick Jose Aldo, to be honest, but I really want to. He's super clean on the feet. But there's kind of a cookie-cutter way to beat Jose Aldo now, and it's holding him up against the cage, and Aben Zahabi has a good cage game. So I don't love it for Jose Aldo with his previous fights, but it's so fucking annoying that he has to go through Aben Zahabi at this point, who's ranked 18. Jose Aldo should be fighting legends. Every other legend gets to fight super fucking cool people, or they have one try me out fight, and then they fight other legends. Jose Aldo had his, like, give the young up-and-comer a chance fight, beat his ass, and then they gave him another one, arguably won, and now they're giving him another one. It doesn't make any sense, and it's the worst. And it doesn't deserve to be on a pay-per-view as much as I love Jose Aldo. Or this should be the opener. It's the fucking feature fight. Come on. That is so bad. It's just a terrible fucking look. But we'll move on. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Once again, Alexa Grasso is a big name. I understand. But prelim headliner. I don't think it's main card worthy. On a pay-per-view at this point, I don't think Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva is. I think Alexa Grasso plus a belt is the only reason you put them on a pay-per-view. Natalia Silva is not pay-per-view worthy at all. And it's frustrating because I don't think Grasso has earned it. I mean, it makes sense for her to be on a pay-per-view maybe, but this matchup doesn't. And it should be on the prelims. And I don't want to really say it out loud as blatant as I want to, but 2 girl fights on the fucking pay-per-view is just not gonna do numbers. It's just not. And it's not gonna do hype for me. I just don't care as much. Do with that what you will. But, next, Benoit Saint Denis versus Kyle Prepolek. So, Kyle Prepolek is 0-2 in the UFC, coming off of 2 losses. And Benoit Saint Denis is also coming off a loss to Renato Moicano. Benoit Saint Denis was supposed to fight Joel Alvarez on this card. That was a pretty cool fight. Prelim headliner worthy, not pay-per-view worthy, after what we've seen from Benoit. Maybe pay-per-view worthy, maybe this pay-per-view. Maybe, because it's so shit. But, who the fuck is Kyle Prepolek? I get why they had to do a replacement fight. And I guess Kyle Prepolek's the only guy they had. But the point is, we shouldn't have had... This shouldn't have been an option at all. We shouldn't have had to save a pay-per-view fight, the opener of the card, with some bullshit like Kyle. We should have had a prelim fight that was good enough to bump up to the main card and we'd still be like, oh shit, this is sick. We should have had that. Not some random mismatch bullshit with bringing in Kyle, who's on an 0-2 streak in the UFC, who has literally no chance of winning. Benoit Saint Denis really is on kind of a downward slope, but he could beat Kyle fucking Prepolek, bro. It's insane that this scramble even needs to be made, and we can't just be like, oh, there's a ton of sick reserve fighters on the prelims, let's just bump one of them up. Because there's been instances where that's happened, and pay-per-views are still amazing when a fight falls through because they stack them well. This fight card is not stacked. Even the prelims just suck. Everything on the prelims is like, There's some good fights on the prelims, I will not lie. A lot of these will probably be kind of fun. Not that one. That's not going to be fun. Navajo Sterling is actually pretty cool. And then Bukauskas and Eon. That's a pretty good fight. Jessica Andrade, that's a bad fight. So there's a little bit of something. No, Marc-Andre Barriault, Bruno Silva. No, the card sucks. No, the card really sucks. But it shouldn't. It's unbelievable to me that at this point in the UFC's lifeline or lifespan, we have to fucking resort to this as a UFC pay-per-view with Bilal as the headliner. At least have it be someone cool as the headliner and then have a bunch of shit under it. If it was a Pereira someone, then it's like, okay, who cares? It's Pereira as the main event. We have Bilal Muhammad as the fucking champ in the main event. This is one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen. Maybe it's just recency bias. But the UFC as a whole is just getting so much worse. We have so many fighters just denying fights nonstop. Arman Tsarukyan just denied a fight. Charles Oliveira is denying fights. Ilya is denying fights. Islam's denying fights. Poirier is only fighting specific people. I get that. He's retiring. But where's that treatment with Jose Aldo? Who has done a fuck ton more than Poirier in terms of legacy. It doesn't make any sense. And the UFC needs to switch up because it is getting rough. But that is probably it. A little rant for that. I will see you soon.